Hello students, myself Dr. Mohammad Azim Bagban, Assistant Professor at CUSA Institute of Science. I hope you all are well. In today's lecture we are going to discuss about the nucleic acids. First of all, let us see the definition. So nucleic acids are the biopolymers or the large biomolecules essential to all known forms of life. The term nucleic acid is the overall name for the DNA and the RNA. They are composed of nucleotides, which are monomers made up of three components: a 5 carbon sugar, a phosphate group, and the nitrogenous base. So it clearly means that nucleotides are making a nucleic acids. If the sugar is compound ribose, the polymer is RNA, that is ribonucleic acid. If the sugar is derived from the ribose as a deoxyribose, then the polymer is DNA, that is deoxyribonucleic acid. Let us see the brief history about the nucleic acids. Nuclein were discovered by the Friedrich Mischer in 1869. In the early 1880s, Albert Kossel further purified the substances and discovered its highly acidic properties. So he later also identified the nucleobases. In 1889, Richard Altman creates the term nucleic acid. Then in 1938, Asbury and Bell published the first X-ray diffraction pattern of the DNA. And on the basis of that particular X-ray diffraction pattern of the DNA, in 1953, Watson and Crick determined the structure of the DNA, that is a double helical structure that is a known form to us. Now let us see the structural composition. Now as you can see that in this particular chart, nucleic acid is actually the polymers of the nucleotides. So many nucleotides are making the nucleic acids together. Now what is nucleotide? So nucleotide means nucleoside plus phosphate group. Now what do you mean by nucleoside? So nucleoside, that is nitrogenous base plus pentose sugar, that is nucleoside. And if you are combining all three together, that is nitrogenous bases, pentose sugar and phosphate group, then they are going to make nucleotide. What do you mean by nitrogenous bases? A nitrogenous base or a nitrogen containing base is an organic molecule with a nitrogen atom that has a chemical property of the base. The main biological function of the nitrogenous base is to bond a nucleic acids together to provide a base or the brick structure to maintaining the structure. Nitrogenous bases are typically classified as the derivatives of two parent compounds, pyrimidine and purine, that is well known to us. Now let us see purines. So purine is a heterocyclic aromatic organic compound that consists of two rings in their structure, and it is water soluble, as you can see in this diagram, in adenine and guanine. So adenine and guanine are actually the purine structure, which containing a two ring structure, right? And pyrimidine is an aromatic heterocyclic single ring compound similar to the pyridine. Now as you can see, cytosine, thymine and uracil, these three structure are a single ring structure and are pyrimidine. Pentose sugar. A pentose sugar is the monosaccharide with 5 carbon atoms, and it can be a ribose or deoxyribose. Now as we have seen in the during the lecture of carbohydrates, we have seen the cyclic structure of 6 carbon sugar and 5 carbon sugar. So let us just revise it. Now this is the cyclic structure of 5 carbon sugar. Now the only difference between the ribose and deoxyribose is on the second carbon. As you can see over here on the second carbon on the both side, ribose containing HCOH, OH group is there, while deoxyribose doesn't contain oxygen on the second carbon. So HCH, it doesn't contain oxygen. This is the reason it called as deoxyribose, while ribose is a complete structure. So ribose is a main sugar present in the structure of RNA, and deoxyribose is the main sugar present in the structure of DNA. So this is the structure of pentose sugar. So mainly nucleotide containing three things. First is nitrogenous base, that would be a purine and pyrimidine. Second is pentose sugar, that could be a deoxyribose or ribose. Ribose present in RNA and deoxyribose present in DNA. Now this is the difference between the nucleoside and nucleotide. So nitrogenous base plus pentose sugar, as you can see over here, that will make a nucleoside. Nitrogenous base plus pentose sugar, nucleoside. But what if along with the pentose sugar there will be a 1 phosphate group. So if there is a 1 phosphate group, then it could be considered as nucleoside monophosphate. 2 phosphate group are there, then nucleoside diphosphate, and if 3 phosphate groups are there, then nucleoside triphosphate. Now this particular phosphate group, along with the phosphate group, this particular structure could be considered as a nucleotide. So nitrogenous base plus pentose sugar plus phosphate group will make nucleotide, and nitrogenous base plus pentose sugar will make you nucleoside. So nucleoside plus nucleotide. Nucleoside doesn't contain phosphate group, while nucleotide contain phosphate group. This is the only difference between the nucleoside and nucleotide. Now what do you mean by polynucleotide? A polynucleotide molecule is a biopolymer composed of 13 or more nucleotide monomers covalently bonded in the chain. DNA and RNA are the examples of the polynucleotides with distinct biological function. The nucleotides can be held together by the phosphodiester linkage to form a polymer. Now let us see this particular diagram. What do you mean by phosphodiester bond? You have to remember, in DNA there will be two bonds. One is hydrogen bond and the second will be the phosphodiester bond. Now a phosphodiester bonds occur when exactly two of the hydroxyl group in the phosphoric acid reacts with the hydroxyl group of another molecules to form two ester bonds. Phosphodiester bonds are central to all life on earth, as they make up to the backbone of the strands of the nucleic acid. Now as you know the diagrammatic representation, or if you remember the diagrammatic representation of the DNA, that DNA is made up of a long string, a long chain of nucleotides, right? So how those particular nucleotides are attached with each other? So they are connected with each other with the help of phosphodiester bond only. So in DNA and RNA, the phosphodiester bond is the linkage between the 3' carbon atom of the one sugar molecule and the 5' carbon atom of the another molecule. Deoxyribose in DNA and ribose in the RNA. Now just see the diagram briefly. This is nitrogenous base of thymine, that is pyrimidine structure. Now this is pentose sugar. Third carbon oxygen is attached with the phosphate group, and this is another nucleotide, that is adenine. That is pyrimidine structure. Again phosphate group, pentose sugar and a phosphate group. So that particular phosphate group is connected with the third carbon of the above sugar and the fifth carbon of the below sugar. This is how they are connected. The phosphate group is connecting chain between the two nucleotide, and this is how they are making a long chain. So this is a phosphodiester bond. Types of nucleic acids, mainly two types, DNA and RNA. Function: DNA hold the genetic information, while the RNA gives transcribes and regulate the genetic information. Strandedness, that DNA is double stranded and RNA is single stranded. The presence of nucleotides: DNA contain A, T, G, C, and RNA contain A, U, C, G. RNA doesn't contain thymine and DNA doesn't contain uracil. Sugar: DNA contain deoxyribose, that we already know that on the second carbon oxygen is not there. In RNA, ribose sugar is there, on the second carbon oxygen will be there. Size: DNA are the large polymers and RNA are variable in size but smaller than the potential length of the DNA polymer. Let's talk about the stability. DNA structure is a stable structure while RNA is unstable structure. Location in the cell: so DNA is present in the nucleus or in a small amount in mitochondria and as well as in chloroplast also, while RNA is created or generated into the nucleus but moves from the nucleus to the cytoplasm or to the ribosome for its function. As you know, the function of the RNA is to generate a protein. Now let us discuss about the composition of the DNA. Deoxyribonucleic acid is a molecule composed of two polynucleotide chains that coil around each other to form a double helix carrying the genetic instruction for the development, functioning, growth and reproduction of all known organisms and many viruses. Now this is a double helical structure provided by the Watson and Crick. Now this is a one strand and this is the another strand. So as you know, two strands are connected. Now there will be a hydrogen bond between the two strands. DNA was first isolated by the Frederick Mischer in 1869, and its molecular structure was first identified by the Francis and Watson and Crick at the Cavendish laboratory with the University of Cambridge in 1953, whose model building efforts were guided by the X-ray diffraction data acquired by the Raymond Gosling, who was the postgraduate student of the Rosalind Franklin at King's College of London. In all the species, it is composed of two helical chains bound to each other by hydrogen bonds. As you can see in this structure, two helical chains are connected with the hydrogen bonds. You just can remember you can remember the basic structure of DNA. Now both the chains are coiled around the same axis and have the same pitch of 34 angstrom, that is 3.4 nanometer, as you can see over here, 34 angstrom pitch, and the pair of chain has a radius of 10 angstrom. According to the another study, when measured in the different solution, the DNA chain measured 22 to 26 angstrom wide, and one nucleotide unit was measured as a 3.3 approximately, or 0.33 nanometer long. So as you can see this particular distance, so distance between the two nucleotide in DNA is about 0.33 or 0.34 nanometer, and the complete pitch structure is having 3.4 nanometer length. So it clearly means that one complete pitch will take about 10 nucleotides. Now two twin helical strands form the DNA backbone. Another double helix may be found tracing the spaces or the grooves between the strands, and these voids are adjacent to the base pair and may provide a binding site. So I just want to clear one thing, that this is one strand, the 5' to 3', and this is the another strand, 3' to 5'. On the same strand, like on the 5' end, this particular G, a guanine, is connected with thymine with the phosphodiester bond, but this particular guanine is connected with the cytosine with hydrogen bond. So on the same strands, nucleotides are connected with the phosphodiester bond, while on the opposite strands they are connected with hydrogen bonds. Now while making a twisting, they are making some structural grooves, as you can see over here. As the strands are not symmetrically located and respect to each other, that grooves are uniquely sized, unequally sized, and one groove, the major groove, is 22 angstrom wide, and the another is a minor groove that is 12 angstrom wide. Now the DNA is coiled in this way only, right? So as you can see, this is a groove, a gap, this is another groove. Now this is a major groove, that means a big groove, as you can see over here, right? And this is a minor groove, a small distance. On the opposite side of the minor groove, there will be a major groove. Again, on the opposite side of the major groove, there will be a minor groove. So what is the purpose of these grooves present in the structure of the DNA? So conformation of the DNA structures. DNA exists in many possible conformation that includes aDNA, bDNA, zDNA forms. Although only bDNA and zDNA have been directly observed in the functional organism. So from the left to right, as you can see the structure of A, B and Z DNA. So on the basis of their conformation, they are to be considered as aDNA, bDNA and zDNA. So normally whatever the structure we are whatever the normal structure we are studying in the basic science, that is a structure of bDNA. Apart from that, there are conformational structures. So that particular major groove and minor groove size we have seen are actually the formation of B structure. Now let us see the composition of RNA. Ribonucleic acid, that is RNA, is a polymeric molecule essentially in various biological roles in coding, decoding, regulation and expression of the gene. Now this in particular diagram, this is the basic structure of the RNA. Nitrogenous base, pyrimidine structure, guanine, along with the ribose sugar, that is again having oxygen, and a phosphate group. So each nucleotide in RNA contains a ribose sugar with carbons numbered 1' through 5'. A base pair is attached to the 1' position, and in general adenine, cytosine, guanine and uracil, and adenine and guanine are the purines, cytosine and uracil are the pyrimidines. So as you know that RNA doesn't contain thymine, as well as the second thing, RNA is a single stranded structure, so it doesn't provide any hydrogen bond. But during the folding of the RNA, it shows the hydrogen bonding. Now, types of RNA, there are mainly 4 types of RNA. Each encodes by its own type of gene. Now, first is mRNA. Messenger RNA encodes amino acid sequence of the polypeptide. Now, as you know, the name suggests messenger RNA, mRNA. It clearly means from the DNA, the codes will be copied in the form of mRNA. That will be a single stranded mRNA. mRNA will made inside the it will made inside the nucleus of the cell, and that mRNA will come outside to provide a code for the protein synthesis. Then ribosomal RNA. Ribosomal RNA with ribosomal protein makes up the ribosome, the organelles that translate the mRNA, which will help to translation for the translation of the mRNA. And another is transfer RNA that brings the amino acid to the ribosome during the translation. Now another is a snRNA, that is a small nuclear RNA with proteins form complexes that are used in a RNA processing in eukaryotes, but snRNA are not found in the prokaryotes. These are the references about the lectures. Thank you so much. If you are having any doubt, you can write down in the comment section. This was about the basics about the nucleic acid. You have to read further more reference books, Pelzar and another reference books you have to read regard with the lecture. Thank you so much.